Hey, welcome back to Rob's Garage Woodworking. Today I'm going to show you how to do the rear brakes with the electronic parking brake on a 5th generation CRV. So that's 2016 on, and it's probably pretty similar on a lot of these other vehicles. I do have a video on the Civic as well for this. Now this one, I'm not going to do it manually. I'm going to use a scan tool for it, okay? And this is the Innova 5160 RS, and I've used this on my Civic and the CRV. The tools you need for this, you don't need everything that I have, but it just makes it easier, okay? So you will definitely need 3 sockets. You'll need a 19 mil, you'll need a 17 mil. I find the extension sockets are best for those. And then this one, I believe, is a 12 mil. Double check that. Yeah, I use an impact gun to take the wheels off because it's easier. Use a ratchet. Use a braking bar. Braking bars are really handy because they're just longer, right? They're longer. It gives you more power, right? So I also used a pry bar. You can use a screwdriver. I have 2 torque wrenches. This one I have set for 17 foot-pounds, and my bigger wrench I have set for 80 foot-pounds for the torques required. And then I also, I used a couple of different ratchets as well, a couple of different sizes. And then I used a piston compressor tool. You can use a C-clamp if you like. I use a mini sledge. And the Phillips bit here, they put this little screw on to hold the brake rotors in during the assembly process of the vehicle. That's all they're there for. So if that strips out, you can drill it out and you don't need it for the vehicle. It serves no purpose other than for the production of the vehicle, okay? So if you break it, if you can't get it out, drill it out, it's fine, okay? I also used an impact gun for that screw just to help out a little bit, and then some brake lube. And I live in Canada. I use anti-seize or anti-seize compound. All right, so these are the tools that I would recommend that you use for the job. Like I said, you can get away with just a socket set and a torque wrench and a C-clamp, but having the rest of it just makes life easier. All right. I backed my CRV into the shop, and I'm going to chock the front wheels with bricks, kick them in nice and tight. That prevents the car from rolling, and do both sides. Alright, you see the red cup there? That's the part of my jack there. So I am going to jack this up right where that flange is. Okay, see how that flange sticks down more than the flange that runs down the car here? So this is your jacking point. So I'm going to jack this up. So we're going to jack the car up just until the wheel's off the ground by a couple inches. Okay. Alright, so at the back of your car, you want to find a good solid piece of frame to mount your axle stand under. So what I've done is I've just put it under the A-arm because that's super beefy. That's like a big cast aluminum part, and I've got it in a spot where it's not going to fall out, so put a little weight on that. Okay, so there it is. So you do that for safety. You have a secondary system, so you have your jack and then you have your axle stand. That way it won't fall on you if your jack breaks. If you don't have an impact gun, before you jack your car up, you want to loosen these off 1 full turn with a braking bar, okay? But I have one of these, so I can take these off. Remember, when you torque them and when you remove them, it's do one, skip one, do one, skip one, do one, skip one, do one. All right, because of the torque that's applied. So I'm going to use the Innova 5160 to put the electronic parking brake in maintenance mode. So, gotta hook it up. This goes in the dash, like right here, right beside your fuse box. See where the cord is? It's right under that pocket. So I got my keys here. I'm not gonna press the brake. I'm just gonna hit the start button once, and I'm gonna hit the start button again. Alright, and all the fans will come on. I'll start beeping. Repair solutions. Skip that. Got a PowerLink menu. Okay, so press the menu button. That's this guy here. What we want to do is go down to service reset. Hit enter. Go down to electronic parking brake reset. Okay, anti-lock braking system, brake pad maintenance mode. Hit enter. There we are. Enter maintenance mode. Enter. Check that everything's like there's the parking brake is released, and the battery's on and all that great stuff. So we press yes. Now it says it takes about 25 seconds tops. You're just going to hit yes, and you can hear it retracting the brake pads right now. And it stopped. It says transition to pad exchange mode has been completed. Perform rear brake pad maintenance. When maintenance is complete, you have to return this to normal mode in order to return the pad position to the original setting. Alright, enter. So, we're in enter maintenance mode. We're going to do the maintenance. Okay, alright, so here's your caliper. Here's your caliper mounting bracket. Okay, and this guy is held in right here. So here's your electronic parking brake right there. So, and there's the bolt for you. Alright, so here's the longer 17 mil. We're gonna stick this in here. And there we go. So we're gonna reef on this a bit. It's gonna be a little tight. Okay. Once it's loose, then you just want to use your ratchet to take it out. So I'll loosen the bottom one as well. Feel where it is here. There we go. Okay. So we will use our ratchet to remove those all the way. So before I pull this off, before I take the bolts all the way out, we also have to take out the caliper slide bolts here. Okay. So let's loosen these guys off. Take those out. Okay, those are these ones right here. Okay. To get this guy out, we're just going to pry here and over here a little bit. We're going to pop that right off. So the bolts that hold it on here are out. Alright. So you also want to be careful of everything that's hooked up here. Alright, so I'm just going to set this back here for now. Okay, and we're going to have to compress that piston. And we're going to take this out. But before we do that, I'm just going to show you the brakes here. You see the pads there? You can see the pad wear. It's still pretty good. I got lots of disc left here, lots of pad wear. You can see the outside pad has got a lot less pad on it than the inside pad does. Okay, but overall the discs look good. Okay, they're a little rusty. They've got some spots on them, but overall the discs look good. So I don't really have to do the brakes here. These are still really, really good. But I've bought brake parts already, so I'm just going to do it. So we're going to pry these out just like this. Just push them out. So there's your first pad. And the inside pad, we're just going to pry it back and forth until it pops out. And if it doesn't pop out, no big deal. You can just knock it out on this side. There we go. Alright, so these parts, we're going to clean these all up. So there is a Phillips screw here. So you get yourself a Phillips bit, a mini sledge, put that in, hit it a few times, the mini sledge to loosen it up. I use an impact gun because I've got one, and it'll come right out. When you put this back in, use anti-seize, and that'll keep it loose. Take your rear disc off. Alright, so I'm going to compress the piston now. I'm going to use a piston compressor tool that I have. And I'm going to back the piston up until it's pretty much flush. You don't have to turn this piston, you just have to push it in. And there shouldn't be any resistance. It should go in really nicely. And you can use a C-clamp for this. Okay, when it stops, then don't push any harder, okay? Is on the caliper mounting bracket. We're going to pop these little guides off, okay? I'll pop them right off. And we're going to put some new ones on. So we're going to take that out, pop it off. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to pull these out. I'm going to just clean around here and some of the rust off. And on the other side. Okay. Let's open the brake pads. This time I got Euro rotor pads, and they painted them. They look really pretty. They're not going to look pretty for long. All right. And here we've got your slides. Okay, so these get really dirty, so we're going to clean them off. All right, so just take everything off, and if they're really bad, you can use your brake cleaner on these as well. So clean that up. And then you are going to use... I use a silicone ceramic brake lubricant. This is a Permatex brake lubricant. I got this at Canadian Tire. Alright, so we are going to... Oops, that's a bit too much here. Let's coat this with brake lube. Okay. And then we're going to plug that back in. See if we can get some of that on the inside. So we're just going to slide that back in. Take the other one out. So the rear brakes on the CRV, they have one of these slide pins has got like a rubber ring on the bottom. So make sure you put these back in the location that you find them, because they are different. So anyway, clean that off. Once again, get your lube. Apply your brake lube liberally. All right. And we're going to put that back in. Okay. Now, these come with the new pins, so these pop right in, so you just have to push them in place, line them up, do the other side, put this in, make sure you line it up as close as you can, and that little guy. So what I'm having problem with is this piece right here, so I'm going to bend that a little bit, open it up a touch, and slide it in place. There we go. Make sure it's all the way in. And then I'm going to close it up a little bit with my pliers, my needle nose pliers. There we go. Good enough. They're all the way in. Now, another thing you're going to have to do here is you're going to want to lube these up. So do this now. So lube these guys here, because the brake pads are supposed to slide on this. So we're going to give them a good shot of brake grease. Okay. So here you go. So your finished product, you got these back in, got these in. Alright, I'll put this back in the car. Alright, your brake rotors, see how they're packed in plastic bags here? They have a film on them. Okay. Alright, they've got like a greasy, waxy, oily film. Okay, so you have to take that off. Okay, so get rid of the plastic. Now, we're going to use disc brake cleaner, and we're going to spray these down. Okay, flip them over. Make sure you get both sides. Clean them all up. Then I'm going to wipe them down with a shop towel. Take everything off of them. I'm also going to put the box from the rotor underneath this, and I'm going to give this a quick rinse with brake cleaner. Clean the threads and everything off, and I'm going to dry that off with my shop towel. And around the hub here, and clean all the rust and stuff off of that hub if you can on the outside. Alright, since I live in Canada and all this stuff rusts together, before I put the rotor back on, I'm going to take some anti-seize. And everybody's going to say, oh, you can't use anti-seize. Well, yes, I can. I live in Canada. This is what we do. Alright, so we can get our wheels back off. So we'll give it a light coating. Nothing major. Alright, and that way we can get everything back off later. So you got to find where your screw is. The screw's got to go in there. You got to locate that on your disc. So mount your disc. Slide it all the way on. That's where your screw goes, remember? So you can get a little screw back out. Yeah, throw a little anti-seize compound on that. And we're just going to put this in, push that all the way in. Put that all the way on. Just give it a little clean around the hub. Okay. Any excess, wipe that off. Alright, and now these things here, you have to set the boots on these, so make sure the boots are set. See, this is down here. That's got to be set up here. That's your dust shield. And then this slides right over top. And you're going to line it up in the back where your bolts go. Let's put this guy in here. move that out of the way a little bit more. And then we're going to tighten these up. Okay. The torque on these is actually really high. It's 80 foot-pounds. So same as these guys here. So let's see where we can fit this in so you can torque it off. Alright. So there we go. There we go. It's torqued. I'm going to slide the pads in. The pads just slide in. Okay, so the squealer goes on the inside of the bottom. We're just going to slide that in here. It's always easier said than done. So I'll show you. So they got these little springs on them, which kind of push them out. But this whole thing fits in like this. Put it in on an angle and rotate it in. Okay, like that. And do the same on the other side. Alright, so once your pads are on, you take your brake caliper and just slide it. Oops. Slide it over top. And these here, you just push. Okay, hold on here. So, these guys right here, right, you just push them in. Push them in. A little bit out of the way. Then we're going to take our caliper and just slide it over the brake pads and line these up here. We're going to put these two bolts back in. And start those. Once those are started, you can tighten them back up. Okay. Alright. Now, those guys are 17 foot-pounds. So we gotta torque them off. So they're pretty light. Not a lot of pressure on those. Okay, torque them off. Now you're good. Now that's gonna slide back and forth. Okay. So, start with this one. Pushing the bottom with my toe. Next one on. And start all of these. Alright, so we're going to tighten them in the pattern. Remember the same pattern. You're going to tighten one down, but just barely on. So just kind of half on, half on. Skip one, right? Half on. That one went all the way in. That one went all the way in. Okay, so once your tire is on fully, it's in all the way, just give it a couple of clicks. Couple of clicks. Couple of clicks. Couple of clicks. Alright, and then we'll torque that off after we drop it. So we'll put this one back down on the ground. Take your jack out. Alright, torque your wheels to 80 foot-pounds. Torque one, skip one, torque one, skip one, torque one, skip one, torque one, skip one, torque one. Alright, all torqued. Now what you're going to do is a week later, you're going to retorque these again, okay? So once again, plug it back in. Put it to second, which is the accessory mode. Alright, so it's linked. Main menu. Main menu, go down to EPB reset. Enter. Go to anti-lock braking system. Enter. Brake pad maintenance mode. Enter. Now you have enter maintenance mode and leave maintenance mode. We're going to go down to leave maintenance mode. Enter. It says make sure the vehicle is stopped. Parking brake is off. Blah blah blah. All the stuff that you went through before. You hit yes. It says it takes up to 25 seconds. So we're going to say yes. And then you can hear it. Do you hear it? Makes this whirring noise. Brake pad was moved back to its original position. This function is finished. Enter. Leave maintenance mode. Exit that out. And then we are done. So we're going to unhook this. Okay. So what we are going to do now is we're going to press on the brakes a couple of times, pump it up a little bit. And you're going to press and hold and put the parking brake on, cycle it on. Press and hold the brake, cycle it off. Press the brake, cycle the parking brake on. Let go of the brake, press the brake again, cycle the parking brake off. Okay, now we're going to start the car, pump up the brakes, press and put the parking brake on. Press, take the parking brake off. Alright, and we're going to take this for a spin.